Well, hello, I'm Chuck Howlett. I'm the director of the Northern Illinois University Professional Sales Center, and I'm fortunate to have a chance to work with the USCA. And it's been a great experience. I've only been a teacher for 10 years, I guess, versus my industry person and the time that I spent there. But that last 5 years, I've been the chance to be the director of the NIU program. The program is also an oldie. 1988, I believe, is when we started. Dr. Stephen Castleberry was the first professor that started it, followed by Dan Wildbaker. And I think Dan was here when the USC actually formed. And following Dan, Dr. Robert Peterson was the sales director. And then over the last 5 years, I've had a chance to take that spot and to learn more about the academic world, learn about teaching, learn about sales students. Again, it's been a great experience. So the idea of Northern Illinois, what makes us different is we have a sales certificate program, not a major or not a minor. So we have a lot of folks coming from marketing, but also management, operations. We have some finance people, some communication, and we get a really nice mix of students that, quite frankly, I think are now set up to have great careers in the industry. Our program is a sales certificate, like most of the universities in the USCA, have a principles of selling. We have a B2B class that's kind of unique in which you have to learn the script, but then Dr. Peterson is very good at improv, as most of us probably know, and making sure people know and can think on their feet. That's a second class. The capstone class is a sales advanced professional selling class that I had a chance to teach. And then the elective is either one that's in sales management, sales leadership and metrics, or actually negotiation. And we also have two trips that we have put together, both Dr. Peterson and myself, as experiential learning trips. One, a trip to Silicon Valley over a 7-day period over spring break. And I have one called Sales on Wheels, which we put students in a bus and they become professional salespeople for 7 days from a Sunday to Friday during winter intersession, where we get a chance in both cases to talk to the academics a little bit, but more importantly, talking to the company sponsors that sponsor our program. So those are the things that NIU brings to the table. What's unique about our program is, number one, we do have the Journal of Selling. Dr. Peterson is the editor of that. And I think it's one of the only programs that have that kind of a journal. And I know a lot of the members have done a lot of work with Rob and trying to get the articles published and also reviewing them and all that. So that's been around for several years. I mentioned the B2B class that Dr. Peterson also teaches, and that's a little bit unique because it really concentrates on inside selling. And Rob, along with Dr. Mark Rosa, were two of the people that had that set up at Northern, giving the students an opportunity to really learn about inside selling, learning about being hung up 99 out of 100 times, and to be able to dust yourself off and to go back in. But they also use the Salesforce.com CRM tool, so that's a thing that they get to learn before they graduate. In the 450 class, what's unique about the Northern program, it is a limited entry. So I accept applications, and then between an interview process of even myself or maybe the other sales instructors, we spend 20 to 30 minutes with each student, making sure that this is the right fit for them. So the limited entry here is really the first screen, per se, for the corporate America looking for salespeople. And that has been a very nice thing for students as well as industry to really get the idea that you're going to have to perform and make sure you know what's going forward to move forward with this. I take about 80%. So there's still a fair amount of people coming in, but it makes people think for sure before they step into this arena that that's what they want to do. We also have a sales advisory board. A lot of the various universities have those. I've been blessed to have for this year 23 companies, and combined, they also contribute about $250,000 to the Northern Illinois Foundation. So a nice funds coming in to help us not only with scholarships, but also the technology and various things in the classroom, and really help the students have a great experience as it relates to the sales process. We also have every role play in both the underlevel, the principals class, and the marketing 450. The buyers are industry people. There's no student conversations and making sure I have my buddy, but every role play they do, whether it's a virtual interview, a telephone interview, or an actual in-person, are all done by buyers. This provides the buyers with a great opportunity to really interview students and really have them set up, and which makes our placement, just like every other sales program, over 90, almost 95% getting sales jobs as they move forward. One of the questions I know that everybody wants to know is, how have we grown over the last few years? And I would have to say it's been very, very tough. When COVID came in, as we all know, we went from 100% in person to 100% off, and it became a big struggle for everybody as well as myself. Because of that, some of our internal recruiting was really a tough challenge because we didn't have as many contacts with the 200 and 300 level students before they got into the 450 program. So consequently, our enrollment was down just a little bit. So what we had to do is I had to try to think of new creative initiatives to try to get folks excited about the sales program and be aware of the sales program. We'd always done a golf tournament, and now I turned it into a virtual golf tournament. And what's shocker of that is it's basically a Zoom meeting. I grouped the students in groups of 4 or foursomes, and we rotate every 20 minutes. I chuckled at that back in 2020, but that has become one of the best tools for the industry people to meet students very rapidly in that course of time. I've turned it in from a virtual golf event to just a roundtable, so that a little bit more manageable. The campus presence was another challenge that we had of companies wanting to come to campus. We're in DeKalb, Illinois, which is about an hour from downtown Chicago, depending on traffic. It could be 2 hours. But I needed more campus presence, and it was very difficult over the last 2 years. So what we're rolling out now is to try to get them to do role plays with us. We're concentrating our last role play in the 350 class, which is the principles of class, in 2 days. So I will have 200 students doing role plays. I've got 8 cameras set up, and between the hours of 11 and 1, I'm doing an internship fair. But if you want to be in the internship fair, you're going to have to be there to do the role plays with me in the morning or afternoon for those 2 days. So I'm trying to be a little creative to deliver more value to the companies to make sure they get presence and in-person opportunities with the students. We also have expanded our sales education to move into the partnerships where Dr. Peterson and the rest of the staff have tried to do more sales education at the corporate level as an opportunity to really continue to build a relationship between it to move forward. The other side of the being growth is with students. So we've had to do really a prospecting like we all do in sales, the top of the funnel, how do we fill it up? So we've tried to find some unique things to get students involved, to try to get the volunteers in the 450 class to really be influencers to the 350 class. We have put together to increase recruiting, I rented a popcorn machine. And I've made this popcorn in the middle of the atrium, and of course, popcorn, like in any theater, smells everywhere. So what happens then is you have people coming down, and we're corny. I think like we learned some of the things from Baylor, what they had done to pop on down to try to get them down. We've also created some mentoring where we have junior levels and senior levels get together off campus. And we have anywhere from 150 to 200 students get together, get to meet each other, get to network. And I'm trying to keep that as an opportunity for us to grow the program. So some of the things that we're working through on that one. From sales competitions with only a limited number of staff, we have not had as many competitions that I was like. In the past, I know we had a World Collegiate Sales competition with Dr. Wildbaker, the decathlon with Rob. He was doing things like that. At this point, we've decided not to do not to do an external competition that we hosted because a lot of our partners are more interested in our students, so they told us, and I couldn't get the support there. So what we've done is create some internal competitions at the 300 and 400 level. One of the big ones right now, of course, is Rainmakers that a lot of us have done. And the Rainmakers is an artificial bot that goes through, and there's about 3,000 folks that Stephanie Bryant at Stephanie Boyer from Bryant has put together. And it's been a nice way for people at the 300 level to get experience and do that. I've also reached out to a partner on my sales advisory board, and they have provide generous cash donations to try to incentivize those students to do above and beyond what they were at just the normal kind of US competition. So that's some of the things that we've tried to move forward on it. Big changes in the program. In this case, it's not a lot of big things have changes. We've been around for a while, so the things that we're doing now are more tweaking to try to make it more relevant, not only to our companies, but also to the students. We are working hand in hand with a digital marketing certificate. We have a new director there. So between digital and sales, there's a lot of similarities as far as getting those skills and getting opportunities for both students. So we're spending more time working with the digital companies that are also looking for salespeople. We are reviving the 2 trips that I mentioned earlier with Dr. Peterson going to Silicon Valley, really concentrating on technology, and also the Sales on Wheels that is really the day in the life of the sales representative. Between those 2 trips, we take about 40 students on those, and it's a 1-week class. They get a 3-credit class, and it's an opportunity to really figure out exactly what you're moving forward, learning technology while being at a corporate office, a corporate location, and they've been very, very well received. And students really quite say they're life changing. The consistent improvement that we're looking to move forward on it is both the corporation and the students. So we want We want companies to understand who we are. But I've had a challenge, and I think that's what the USCA brings to us, is a chance to bring these challenges to everybody, and let's talk about them and say, what can we do? We feel that since COVID, the student population has changed. Because they spent more time looking at work and being more work related, we have more of our students are working more full-time jobs. We have about 40% of our class, they're commuters coming to campus. So there's a lot of commute time coming back. We also have 15 to 20% of our sales classes are athletes. So we know the athlete schedule. They're working out at 6 in the morning and throughout the day. And we probably have 50 to 60% also have jobs. So if you look at that kind of a target base, I need to do a better job at delivering value. They're coming to campus to get educated and get the opportunities, but we need to have events and programs to really fit the schedule of our students in this regard. So that's one of the challenges that I see of the role plays that we're doing outside of the classroom. I'm having a difficult time trying to get them to commit versus the work that they're doing. So I think our student population being so close to Chicago and having that kind of opportunities it's a little bit more challenging. And I think moving forward, that'll be some of the conversations we'll have with the USCA. The sixth question we had was talking about advantages of membership, and I think I might have alluded to it already. When I came on board with Northern Illinois 10 years ago, I had a chance to meet some of the fine people. I remember talking to Andrea Baylor and saying, what did I get myself into? Talking to Terry Lowe and T. Lowe and the stuff that he does at Kennesaw State and trying to get some ideas. I've talked to Rebecca Dingus, who is one of the people that really helped me on some initial marketing 446 sales leadership class on the syllabus and activities that we do. And those things are just unbelievable of somebody not knowing the background and being such a welcoming group to try to, hey, we're all working together. Yes, we're all competing, but we're really competing more on a collaboration standpoint, because I think like Dave Payne said from Akron, we're not really working about competition, we're worried about helping the students. And that's exactly what the USCA, I think, really forces us to do. So I look at four things that USA has really provided. Number one is team. We learn from each other. We fail fast because of what we learn from each other. And to that collaborative effect it's unreplaceable because you can't get that kind of experience as just one-on-one in your silo. It's a cross country that really helps out. Number two, what I see that both Jimmy Peltier as well as Andrea work together is more of a strategic vision. And what I see that from a business standpoint, they're really viewing the sales education and counting how it fits and how we compete in the marketplace. There's been media talking about the death of sales and how that works. But I think this group is one that's on the forefront to say, this is how we move forward to try to educate the population of just the value that the sales representatives bring in form of revenue. The third is the voice, not only from the education, but also the media, and making sure that we have an understanding moving forward, how we move together as a group, and really a lobbying effort across the country to make sure that we represent our careers and the profession that we do. And then finally, the research opportunities. Well, I haven't really focused a lot on research because of my background. There's a tremendous amount of very intelligent, up and coming young professionals that are really learning, doing the education, doing the research, and helping not only the academic side, but also the corporate side as you move forward with it. From what NIU brings to the table, I mentioned a few things from the Journal of Selling and all that, but I think the engagement is the biggest thing we bring. We've got USCA data that Andrea put together. I use that data, and it's been very valuable to try to position what we do at Northern and how we compare across the board on that one. So that data package is outstanding. The various committees, the Marcom committee for one, that really helps better understand what we do and how we can learn from each other. I think the collaboration on syllabi, on donors and on sponsors are really very valuable. The whole idea of improv, Dr. Peterson has been improv. He has the improv hat from Second City, and that kind of thing, and his work with sales enablement is, I think, helped the USCA move forward on it. And then finally, the whole idea from a networking standpoint, where when I started at Northern Illinois, the network for the USA was unbelievable. But more importantly for me, I got to meet other companies. After being my career with one company, I had a chance to work with 10, 15, 20 other corporations and found out those sales professionals, we all do the same thing. We try to find a customer problem, we try to help it, try to solve it. And that's what I think the USA really brings. My hat's off to the folks that I talked about before, but Terry Lowe, what he helped me is try to get a contract for our sponsors and try to really make them put all together. I mentioned Rebecca Dingus, a lot of other folks all the way down here, from Linda Mullins helping me with some Rainmakers things, to Stacy Shackle helping me through some of the things from a leadership standpoint, Howard Dover, Andrea Dixon. all these have become, like we've heard before, have become not only networking friends, but become really colleagues that you really trust in and can really make everything pull together and really make our program better by using the interests that everybody have. So I think moving forward, what our involvement will be in the USCA will continue to be involved, because without the opportunity to network and to have these collaboration sessions and what people learn, we're going to fall behind. And what I also see is people pushing the envelope on this, which pushes the program that are older, that are maybe need to be pushed a little bit, and it really helps you raise that standard across the board. So I'd say thumbs up to the USCA. I'm enjoying being involved with it, and I know the students are prospering by having the interaction across the board with so many good ideas and so many great people. So thumbs up to the USCA.